It's KFI AM 640, and you're listening to The Conway Show on demand on the iHeartRadio app. Day before Halloween, so the kids will be out tomorrow trick-or-treating. Be safe around those kids out there. And the Dodgers will be playing. So kind of a nightmare scenario for the fellas and for some gals who are Dodger fans, because your kids want to go out trick-or-treating exactly when the game starts. It'll be at 5:08. So at 6:08, maybe 6:15, 6:30 is when it starts to get dark. And so right in the thick of that game, your kids will be banging on you to get out and go trick-or-treating. And you will have a dilemma. Do I stay home and watch Game 6, or do I go out with the kids and record it and hope nobody tells me the score? Or you can keep it on KFI, and we will keep you updated on the score all night long. Or you can listen to it on 570 AM. It's up to you. Totally up to you. But lots of options out there. But don't miss the kids' Halloween. Much more important than listening to the game. So get out there, enjoy the kids. But listen to the game or listen to us here tomorrow night with your earbuds or whatever you've got going on. And we'll give you scores all night long. And that'd be fun. That'd be a cool deal. All right, a lot of prop bets. Some sports leagues and states could ban prop bets and prop betting because of what happened in the NBA over the last couple of weeks.
This wild pitch from June could be the new ugly side of the sport.
It's just a little bit outside.
In the third inning, Cleveland pitcher Luis Ortiz threw a pitch in the dirt and was suspended soon after amid allegations he might have done it on purpose to help gamblers who'd bet on that pitch being outside the strike zone.
The first inclination for everybody, and myself included, is there's something not right there.
Jason Van Hoff saw that pitch. He investigates suspicious betting patterns and worked for the monitoring company that reportedly alerted Major League Baseball about a surge in bets around that play in Cleveland.
Wow, isn't that wild, man? That kind of inside information where people are cheating. Man, you got to love people.
They're called prop bets.
And any strikeout can pay out.
Wagers made on an individual player's performance.
How big a part of the gaming business is it?
It's definitely growing.
Ortiz's suspension got the attention of Ohio's governor, Mike DeWine, who now wants to ban prop bets in his state.
We saw states, one after another, rapidly approve sports gambling a few years ago. Was this not envisioned?
One pitch, one shot of the basket. I don't think that's what most people thought of at that time, but it's clearly taken off, and it's clearly a problem.
As part of a blockbuster indictment last week, federal agents arrested an NBA player who allegedly tipped off gamblers he was going to leave a game early with an injury. According to Van Hoff, the explosion of prop betting in the last decade has turned some lesser-known athletes into marks.
It was primarily based around just the superstars, the Patrick Mahomes, the LeBron James. Now it is starting to move down into lower levels of the game, the players coming in off of the bench, the rookies that might not have as much playing time.
We were unable to reach the Cleveland pitcher Ortiz for comment, but it's not just Ohio considering a change. Other states are proposing legislation to update their sports gambling laws to outlaw prop betting. And we've learned...
Yeah, prop bets are, if you don't know what they are, it's, the flip of a coin at the beginning of a football game is a prop bet. Who will score the first touchdown, who will score the first basket. Those are prop bets, and they could be very easily manipulated. You can't really manipulate an entire player's, performance throughout the entire game. That's very difficult to do, and those are on the up and up. But the prop bets are very easy because it's one pitch, one flip of a coin, one catch, and then it's payday. And when these sites see $300,000-$400,000 coming in on one prop bet, and it comes together, then they immediately notify the league that it happened in, and you can get thrown out of the league for that. And your entire NBA career can be thrown in the toilet over one stupid play like that. Speaking of careers thrown in the toilet, the NBA has issued a memo following the arrest of the NBA coach Chauncey Billups with Portland and the other players that were mixed up in that horrible two stories that were coming out with the NBA. One was centered around players throwing games, and another one was players involved in poker games where there was some cheating going on during the game. So the NBA took it very seriously and put out a memo.
Less than a week after the arrests of Portland Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups and Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier, the NBA is reassessing how the league can protect itself from what it calls the dire risks of sports betting. In a memo to all 30 teams obtained by ABC News, the league is calling for new procedures to protect the integrity of the NBA. As it reviews policies on injury reporting, the league is particularly concerned about prop bets on player performance that the memo says involve heightened integrity concerns. Rozier is accused of tipping off sports bettors he would fake an injury during a 2023 game and later take a cut of $200,000 in wagers that he would underperform.
He's a straightforward guy, a non-gambler, a guy who was making $100 million over 4 years.
Wow.
And we're supposed to believe that he wanted to throw a game to make a few pennies while he's losing on his endorsement contract at the same time. Like, we have the benefit of logic and good character supporting our defense.
It does make sense when he puts it that way. Why would a guy who's making $100 million throw a game?
LA Clippers fans jeering the Trailblazers during Sunday's game, appearing to chant FBI after head coach Chauncey Billups was charged with luring high rollers to poker games rigged by the mob using X-ray tables, an altered card shuffling machine, and glasses that could read pre-marked cards. Billups and Rozier have been placed on leave. Both of them, Robin, deny wrongdoing.
The memo that was sent out by the NBA to the league saying there are dire risks when it comes to sports betting, but this is exploding right now.
Yeah, it sure is. And it was actually the sports books that caught some of the unusual interest in the game.
Yeah, because the sports books were taking the hit, $200,000 or $300,000 on one guy in one game. And the red flag goes up immediately.
When Terry Rozier allegedly faked his injury, but the league here thinks it can do more. And the memo we obtained suggested maybe AI could help police sports betting, but any real change would probably need Congress and the sports books themselves.
Yeah, that's a big story, big story. All right, we come back. Dean Sharp, the House Whisperer, will be with us. He's on the weekends, every single weekend, on Saturday from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. right here on KFI, and then on Sunday from 9 a.m. until noon. Very popular show.
You're listening to Tim Conway Jr. on demand from KFI AM 640.
Dean, how you, bub?
I am sitting here enjoying this ice-cold Coke Zero, and life is good.
My wife loves that. Every time we go to a restaurant anywhere, it's always, do you have Coke Zero? Always have Coke Zero. You know why they named it Coke Zero? They did a study, and they found out that guys, women will order, Diet Coke, but guys won't order Diet Coke. So they had to call it Coke Zero. Yeah.
I guess it doesn't. You know what? That's not me. I'd prefer, I have no problem ordering Diet Coke, but I like Coke Zero better. But I always feel a little pretentious asking it at the restaurant. I'm like, oh, excuse me, do you have Coke Zero? Pardon me.
I know. I always cringe when my wife orders it. Do you have Coke Zero? I'm like, oh, Christ, here we go.
To the point where I would rather I just want to ask them, like, what do you have? And then when they list it off, I'm like, yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, I feel better doing that than saying, oh, do you have a Coke Zero?
Yeah, I noticed also, and like I might be on the moon here, but when a restaurant offers Coke, I like that for some reason. I think I don't know, there's maybe a quality thing there. I don't know. It's weird. I mean, people are either Coke or Pepsi.
It's true.
I'm a big Coke guy.
Yeah, I am.
Do you use as a drop later?
Yeah, exactly. Can I get Bellio? Can I get this air check right
here
there?
We
just
go.
that.
Yeah.
Just that one. That's going on social media tonight.
All right. So the holidays are upon us. Are you a big decorator for Halloween?
Oh yeah. No. Oh, you already got me. I was about to say Christmas, of course. No, Halloween. No. We actually have 3 pumpkins sitting on the porch. One of them is starting to rot. And,
we've had 2 rot already.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it sucks. But I love the decorating for the holidays, whether, we don't do Thanksgiving, obviously, but we do heavy Halloween, and then all of it comes down on Saturday, and big, heavy Christmas. I love it.
Yeah, for sure.
It is the best.
And this year, we actually, committed to an Aldic Christmas tree this year.
Oh, that's cool.
And Tina's like, oh my gosh, can we put it up now? Can we put it up now?
Oh,
I'm like, no, not yet.
That's awesome. But
a really gorgeous
people also, around this time of year, they get their house ready for company. You know, they know they're going to have people for Thanksgiving and for Christmas. And what are some of the things you can do instantly to really sort of help that vibe out? Are they candles? Is it keeping the place clean? I don't know.
Well, I mean, ultimately, I'm not going to give you a huge list, but because there's enough going on at the holidays. But if you really are committed to we got to do something to the place, then paint.
Oh, painting. Okay.
I mean, if you got to commit to a project that's going to, paint is without question one of the least expensive major changes you can make to a house, right? I mean, you think about that. You could get in there and just, for a few bucks, you can completely change the mood and the color of an entire room, right? And so paint this time of year, I actually encourage it. In fact, right now, Sunday, we're talking about holiday prep. And by that, I really mean paint. We're going to do a deep dive on paint. Because this is the time of year, one of the probably the second most popular time of the year that people really consider changing the color of a room, and it's only because it's not because anybody's ever jonesing to paint, but they're thinking, oh no, the relatives. This is the time, and they're just thinking the judgment. Honestly, this is the judgment. The judgment is coming. I better spruce things up because I don't want to hear about it.
Right. Or the post judgment after you do spruce it up, like, how'd you choose that color? That kind of crap.
Exactly.
But you see, I feel better about a room if I hire somebody to paint it than if I do it myself. And a lot of times you can't really tell, but I think it's like, when you have a sandwich made for you, it tastes better than if you make it for yourself.
You know what? I would agree. Tina does not agree with that.
Oh, really?
Because she loves to paint. I mean, just loves it. And so she feels more satisfied if she's done the work in the room than if we've hired it out. Me, I am happy to hire it out. I'm like, hey, you know what? My role today, I'll be letting you guys in.
Right.
And locking the door behind you when you leave. And I'm very happy about that.
And especially guys that can paint really straight lines. That is a real art.
That's true. Again, not something that I like to do. That's what rulers and masking tape is for. I mean, that's a straight line, Dean. Yeah, I free-handed that one. Not.
I got paint from Catalina, and you and I share a love for that store as well. And it was great. I put one coat on, and it looked terrific. I didn't even need a second coat.
Yeah, Catalina Paints, by the way. Benjamin Moore.
Yes.
Your local Benjamin Moore retailer. And that's what makes Catalina as awesome as they are, because they carry in what is, in my opinion, the world's greatest paint.
Yeah.
Benjamin Moore.
But are you a roller guy or a brush guy? I'd like to get it done as quickly as possible, but that's always not the best way.
Yeah, when it comes to walls, I'm totally a roller guy.
Yeah.
But you got to cut in. You got to do both. You got to cut in with a brush around the edges, around baseboards and corners and stuff like that, and then you can get the roller going, in the main field.
Right, but the prep time is what drives me crazy. I think the rule of thumb is 4 times prep for one. For every 4 hours prep for 1 hour painting.
Oh yeah, I mean that is essentially. I mean, if we talk about what goes wrong with a paint job. It's never you putting paint on the wall. That's never the problem. The problem is always you didn't prep this enough. You didn't prep that enough. Prep is 90% of a paint job, honestly. Right. And I don't do the 1 to 4. I'll just tell you this. Prep is everything. You want that paint to hold, you got to prep. You want it to do right, you want it to cover properly, you got to prime. All these things before we actually get to putting the freaking paint on the wall, and it's super important. Don't get me wrong, but those are the reasons why I'm out. I just don't have the patience for it.
I noticed that the painter's tape is made a lot of improvements with that frog tape.
Oh yeah, well, frog tape has a very, very specific purpose, and that it cuts in better than any other kind of masking tape. And now there are different versions of frog tape. By the way, there's yellow. There's green, there's orange, all of which, manifest in different ways, depending on the kind of surface that you're sticking it on, how rough the surface is, and so on and so forth. But here's the best thing I can tell you about frog tape. The key to frog tape is that it has got a polymer inside that's like a gelatin that's mixed in with the adhesive. And that gelatin, that doesn't do anything when you stick it on the wall. The gelatin right on the edge of the frog tape reacts the second that the wetness of the paint hits it, and it seals. It gelatinizes, and it seals off. It's like self-caulking masking tape. Blue tape doesn't do that. None of the other masking tapes do that, but the frog tape does. But also, you know that frog tape comes in that Tupperware bowl? Don't throw that thing away and just throw your roll of frog tape in the drawer. You put it back in the Tupperware container and you seal the lid, because that gelatin goes bad if you expose it to air too much.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's important to keep that sealed after you use it.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great tip. But that frog tape is worth every dime you spend on it. Every dime.
It is. It's virtually, I mean, I hate to say this because somebody's going to email me and say that they ruined their wall with frog tape, but it is virtually, idiot proof.
Right.
It really is.
All right, when we come back, I want to talk about certain kinds of paints, because I'm fascinated by painting. I used to love to paint. Now I'm not really that into it. But I do, there is a sense of accomplishment once you take all the tape down, all the plastic down, and you walk into that room doing it yourself. There does seem to be a certain sense of pride, and when people compliment it, you feel like a high, like a physical high over it.
Yeah, some people do.
Some people, not you. Okay, I get that. All right, Dean Sharp is with us. We're live on KFI. He's on every Saturday from 6 to 8 a.m. And then on Sunday, 9 a.m. until noon. The Dodgers are off tonight. They're playing tomorrow in Toronto. They must win on Friday, and they must win on Saturday. They have to win back-to-back games in Toronto to be the 2025 World Series champions. So we've got to put our heads together and figure out some way to give them the mojo where they need it. I saw them getting on the plane last night, and they looked depressed out of their minds.
You're listening to Tim Conway Jr. On Demand from KFI AM 640.
Dean Sharp is with us every weekend here, 6 to 8 a.m. on Saturday, 9 a.m. until noon on Sunday. I was listening to you on the way home from Morongo. I think maybe we talked about this last week. But I love when guys and gals simply call up with very detailed questions about, putting cabinets in on existing flooring and, just the intricacies, stuff that I can't do myself. But I think that, that is going to be the last of the jobs that AI can attack. People that are really good carpenters.
Yeah. It was funny. I was just having a conversation about this this afternoon, where it was a gal who was talking about wanting her kids to go to trade school.
Yes.
It's the best thing because AI is taking out all the white collar jobs, but guess what will be left over?
Yeah.
Plumbers, carpenters. Eventually, I'm guessing, we're just going to have to get the robot. The robots will have to get to the point where they can walk into your home and say, "Where's the problem, sir?" But that's way further down the road right now than just AI. And so, yeah, you're absolutely right. There's never been a better time, I think, to be in the trades because you're in high demand.
And, you can do jobs now with modern equipment, and you know this better than I do, obviously, but I'm actually talking to the audience. I love watching videos of a guy who has hydraulic lifts. He has laser measures, and he's putting up cabinets by himself with these hydraulic lifts and measuring with laser measures. And that was a 2 or 3 man job before every day. Now it's a single guy can do it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, we've got bladder control, and these are air bladders that are pump controlled that we can put under cabinets to level them, to set them, to shim them. So, yeah, one person with just your 2 hands and some of these amazing tools to help out can get a lot done these days, an awful lot.
We had to redo my daughter's bathroom because it was leaking, and the guy who originally put the shower pan in, it was slanted towards the door, so every time she showered, the floor was filled with water. So
perfect.
Yeah. So the guys, I had a couple of guys come out, and the guys that were on it said, "You've got to redo the whole shower. You can't. There's no way that we're going to be able to fix this. You can't, lift this, and it's not going to look good." So we tore it out and retiled it. And the guy that came in to do the tiling, I looked at it and I thought, man, this guy could have been an artist when it comes to tile. I think doing tile and having it look beautiful is one of the most skilled jobs in the world.
Yeah, it is. It depending on the complexity of the job, there is a point where everybody, even the DIY homeowner, falls off. You know, even a pro like me who isn't a tile expert. And I can set some pretty good tile. I've set all the tile in my own home. Okay?
Oh, good.
But there's a point where it's like, nope, no. Let's call in the guys who really know what they're doing.
Right. Yeah. And I noticed that, people always say the bigger the tile, the easier the job, but that's not necessarily true either because, with those big tiles, if you don't get them level, there's going to be a problem there too.
You know what the most difficult tile is? The most difficult tile are the extremely large ones and the really tiny mosaics. These are the hardest tiles to set. Your standard like 4-inch, 6-inch,
Right.
8-inch tiles, no problem. But yeah, you're absolutely right. The bigger the tile gets, it's very, very complex. You got to be set just right. You got no margin for error the way it lines up against the edge of the next tile. And when it comes to little mosaics, man, if you put on just a tiny bit too much thin set mortar, it's coming all the way up through in between the tiles. You're spending the next hour cleaning it out from in between the tiles because you push them down too hard. It's just, really small and really big, incredibly difficult.
We had a guy come in and he did the tile. He hot mopped the shower the weekend before to make sure there were no leaks and everything. And he'd come in, he'd turn the music on, and he'd be in that bathroom himself for 4 or 5 hours, singing along to the music. And he was one of the happiest guys I've ever met in my life. I'm telling you, I think you're right. I think directing kids nowadays towards trade schools and showing them a trade like that and a skill set like that that nobody could take away from you is worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, and I don't get me on my high horse about this, because and I'm all about higher education. I love it. I love the science. I mean, this is not taking anything away from education, but it's not for everybody. And there are people out there who are born their genius, their creativity. You think about fine artists, right? You don't need a master degree to do this. You need the training and the creativity. There are people out there who are just born to work with their hands, and there is such an amazing satisfaction to well-skilled manual labor. I mean, back in my carpentry days, I used to tell people, I said, you know what? I appreciate that you had a stressful day because you couldn't figure out what your middle manager wanted out of you, okay? But me, here's when I have a stressful day, okay? Because every day I go to work, and I am judged by the laws of nature. Okay. I just put that wall up. It's plumb or it's not. It's straight or it's not. Okay. Those things are holding or they don't. And when the universe judges me and says fail, believe me, you don't feel good about it. But it's not somebody's mood that controls whether the jobs turn out well. And it is just so satisfying to do a great job on a piece and walk away knowing, you know what, this thing's going to last for years and years and years.
Yeah, and I not only I think is it a skill that no one can take from you, but I think there is so much personal satisfaction from the tremendous compliments that you get too. Like, wow, like I walked in there and I saw how beautifully this thing was tiled. And I couldn't believe it. Man, I talked to the guy for like 15 minutes. What was his background? Where is he from? It turns out his dad was a tile expert, and also his grandfather. And it's just a great, rich history of passing that skill down from one generation to another. And again, it's also the internet that's helped me out because, when you go to the internet, you see a guy who's great at tiling or a guy who's great at painting or a guy who's great at farming. You think a farmer is just a guy in a tractor, fertilizing the corn and then tearing it down. These are all precise computers now with very heavy equipment and mathematical, judgment on where to plant and how, what day to plant, how much water, how much fertilizer, all that stuff. And you really respect the skill of guys who work with their hands after watching these videos.
Yeah, absolutely. And the satisfaction that comes from that, and just in general, you want to be respected these days, be somebody who is capable of doing some things. This is something, it's one thing that I just love my dad, who passed away a long time ago, the one thing that he communicated to me in my life that has stuck with me forever, and this was his way. He was not a machismo guy, but he was a man. I mean, he really was a really great man. He basically communicated to me, listen, I want you to do two things with your life, and whatever it is that you do, I want you to be kind and I want you to be capable. And for me, that has just been like the North Star for me. And to be capable, to walk into a place and say, yeah, I can fix that for you, no problem. Man, it just feels good to be able to, work with the real world around you,
right,
and actually get by.
And that comfort when you say, no, that job's not impossible, I can handle that. It really does give people a sense of of relief that somebody can take care of that. And I love this saying, and I've heard it for years and years. Dirty hands, clean money. I think it's never been truer than now.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right.
It's great. Buddy, I always appreciate you coming on. Great advice for people, and we'll talk to you next week.
Hey, can I throw one thing?
Yeah.
Sunday, we're preempted in L.A. by the Chargers game, okay? But we're doing the show because of San Diego, so you can either listen on Kogo or you can catch us later on the podcast. The show will be there. It'll be there. It's just going to be Chargers where, I normally am on Sunday.
Yeah, it's great to listen to. I listen all the way back from Morongo, and it's like having guys who are capable of doing this kind of crap in your car with you for 2 hours. And you have a sense that you're going to the project yourself, and the way you visualize it and you and your wife take care of it is really terrific. I love it.
Thanks, bro.
Thanks, man. Talk to you later next week.
Sounds good.
All right, there goes Dean Sharp, everybody. This Saturday, 6 to 8 a.m. Sunday, preempted on KFI, but the show is going to be broadcast in San Diego and then available on podcasts after it is completed at noon.
You're listening to Tim Conway Jr. on demand from KFI AM 640.
Tomorrow is Halloween. Man, when I was a kid, I really enjoyed Halloween. It was one of my favorite holidays, and I still think it is. I decorate the house. I really, I know that it signals that seasons are changing, and we don't have seasons out here. You have to walk, and I've said this before on the air. You have to walk into Target, and you have to go back to the seasonal department to know that the seasons are changing. That's the only hint that we get. This week, it was 91 degrees at our house in Burbank. 91 degrees in late October. So that's not fall. That's not winter. That's summer heat. So you have to go into Target, usually towards the back left. That's where seasonal is. And that's when you know we're changing seasons. When you see the lawn furniture coming out, we're getting close to spring. When you see all the Christmas the crap coming out, we're close to winter. That's the only way that we know. That's it. All right, we've got another story here that's somewhat interesting, I guess. Supersonic jet could really cut commercial air travel. And one of the reasons why people don't like to go overseas to Europe or Africa is the 24 hours on a plane. People hate that. Sitting in a seat. The longest flight I was ever on was from Dublin to LAX. It was 15 and a half hours. And so what I did, I took 2 sleeping pills when we left Ireland, my wife and I chased it with a shot of vodka. I don't recommend anyone ever doing that. But I wanted to pass out. I wanted to sleep for 15 hours, and that's the way I did it. So I slept it was a 15 and a half hour flight. I slept for 12 and a half or 13 hours. I was out. So I wake up. It's getting dark outside. And I said to the flight attendant, how much longer? Are we about an hour and a half out of LAX? And she said, no, we're about 13 hours away. And I said, no, I've been asleep for 11 hours. She said, you've been asleep for about an hour. And I woke up with a tremendous headache. And I never get headaches. I've had maybe 2 in my life. a tremendous headache, and I had 12 and a half, 13 hours left on that flight. And people hate it. They hate the long flights. Your legs get all cramped up. There's no real comfortable place to sleep. There's no comfortable position unless you have real money and you're sitting up front in one of those, fully, almost like a bed up in front with a private cabin. If you have that kind of money, you don't mind traveling at all. And why should you, or why would you? But when you travel with the animals in the back in coach, everybody is super close to each other. There's no leg room. There's no food. There's no good, entertainment on these flights. And you have to sit there for 12 hours. And 12 hours seems like 5 days when you're just sitting there. There's nothing to do. And so if you can speed it up with supersonic jets, it would benefit everybody. And that's close. We're close to this. Very close.
It's called the X-59, and it could be this century's Concorde. NASA's experimental jet taking off yesterday on its first test flight over the California desert. Built to fly 925 miles per hour, nearly twice as fast as today's commercial airliners. The X-59 is designed to be the first aircraft to break the sound barrier quietly.
Meticulously engineered, it produces a gentle thump, a mere whisper compared to the disruptive booms of the past.
Okay, that's a game changer. The reason why we don't have supersonic jets flying over America is because of breaking the sound system and the sonic boom that comes along with that. It scared the hell out of everybody, so we stopped doing it. But now if you can do it quietly, this is going to take off.
The explosive-like sonic boom is why commercial supersonic flight has been banned over the U.S.
That's exactly what I just said. I'm a step ahead of this lady.
It can startle people, it can rattle windows and cause problems. Even military flights are restricted to certain areas because the shock waves can cause so much disturbance on the ground.
But the X-59's unique shape turns that boom into more of a thump, no louder than slamming a car door. You may recall the supersonic Concorde flew for decades until it was retired in 2003 due to high operating costs and fading demand. It was only allowed to hit supersonic speeds over the ocean. The X-59, without that deafening sonic boom, could be a game changer.
Okay, at 950 miles an hour, you could get to New York in 2.5, maybe 3 hours.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy saying it has the potential to change the way the public flies.
An X-plane is a symbol of our collective ambition to redefine the future. And in this case, it's the future of supersonic travel.
Yes, excellent. All right, Michael Monks is coming up with Tiffany Hobbs. That is going to be a great show. I like both those people, and I'll be listening to Tiffany Hobbs and Michael Monks. They're coming up immediately, right here with Ronner. All three of them. It's like My Three Sons, or is it My Three Stooges? Would you rather be known as My Three Sons or My Three Stooges?
Let's just save time and go straight to Stooges.
All right. Guys, stay tuned. That's going to be a great show. Hobbs, Monks, Ronner, Ding Dong with those three. We're live on KFI AM 640. Conway Show on demand on the iHeartRadio app. Now, you can always hear us live on KFI AM 640, 4 to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, and anytime on demand on the iHeartRadio app.